Well, good evening all. This is Patricia and I am traveling for history. I have a new book recommendation for you, and that is Dr. Icepick. This book was written by Claire Prentice. I listened to it on audible.com, and it was narrated by Shante McCormick. It is unabridged, and it ran 2 hours and 14 minutes. It was actually perfect. I had to drive 2 hours round trip today for the place I was filming, so I listened to the whole thing in the car. I love a book like that. So before I start talking about it, let me read you the description of the book to you. The description, by the way, is on Amazon.com. A haunting and true short story of the lobotomist who cut a brutal swath through the lives of thousands of vulnerable Americans, from the author of Miracle at Coney Island. In July 1952, Dr. Walter Freeman arrived at the gates of a West Virginia asylum. In his medical bag, he carried 2 metal picks and a surgical hammer. He invented a cheap, easy 10-minute lobotomy. The press described it as a miracle cure, a new frontier in psychosurgery. That summer, in just 12 days, Freeman lobotomized 228 men, women, and children. His blitzkrieg of brain surgery became known as Operation Icepick, named after the tools he wielded. To some, the doctor was a hero, solving the crisis facing the nation's underfunded and overcrowded psychiatric institutions. But many who watched him operate saw a dangerous risk-taker, a showman, and a charlatan. This is the true story of a scientific pioneer whose misguided quest created one of the biggest tragedies in American medical history. Before I go any further, let me define the word lobotomy so that we're all on the same page. It is, quote, a lobotomy is a surgical operation including incision into the prefrontal lobe of the brain. And this was formerly used to treat mental illness. So let me tell you a little bit about the book, and you can decide if this is something that you want to listen to or read. It is exceptionally graphic when they describe, when the lobotomy is described. That's how the book starts. It does grab you. Huh. Since I was driving, it's not like I was around town. And although I know how to get to this place because I've been there a few times already, with the floods, I had to go this other way because roads are washed out. So I couldn't just pause it easily, which meant, oh my gosh, I had to listen to it. I am not going to describe that to you because I don't want anyone else wishing they could just pause this. So what I will say is, let me tell you some things about how Dr. Freeman preferred to perform his version of a 10-minute lobotomy. there were some things he didn't believe in, like he didn't believe in germs, so he didn't wear gloves. He didn't use anesthesia. Now, he did use electric shock to stun the patient so that he could perform the lobotomies. So the book described those electric shocks as brutal, quote unquote brutal. So he would have doctors, nurses, people who were there to watch him perform these things, hold the patient down. Now he preferred schizophrenic patients because he felt that the before and after was it better showed the effect of the lobotomy, but that wasn't always the case. Sometimes he performed the surgery on anyone for any reason, and he didn't sometimes even bother to meet the patient ahead of time. And he did certainly seem to enjoy it. The way the book was written, it did seem as if he didn't care at all. Near the end, his wife had, she had fallen, broken her hip, and after 40 years of marriage, she felt nothing, apparently, when he signed her into a nursing home for the rest of her life. So I have to wonder if he were a bit narcissistic in all this. I think he enjoyed, based on what I read, based on the tone of the book, it seemed like he enjoyed performing these surgeries. So once the person was dazed from the electric shock, he would perform the lobotomy, and sometimes he would perform it on both sides of the head at the same time, because, of course, the showman piece. This was a really interesting book. In spite of the graphic quality of parts of it, it was very good. And it's only 2 hours and 14 minutes. Boom, boom, done. I don't actually know how many pages it is, but it's a quick listen. And I decided to finish it in the car. I was parked before coming down to my house. I just went ahead and finished listening to it in the car. So I do recommend it. I think if you like this kind of thing, medical history, that you would also find it interesting. But really, you want to be prepared, because the author goes in detail, which I can't believe he didn't use anesthesia. Well, he wasn't the one having this thing performed on him. But anyway, I do recommend the book. I think you would enjoy it. Why not? If you're interested, why not? Alrighty, well, this is Patricia, traveling for history, and until I see you again, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a fabulous evening. Bye now.